So for types of circulatory system, there are actually two types, open and closed circulatory system. Now, you only mainly need to know like the definition between these two if they ask you to compare it, so it's like 1 or 2 marks only. So for open, right, means the blood flows openly into body cavity. Now, so this animal, right, they basically lack of blood vessels. They don't really have blood vessels. But for closed circulatory system means what? The blood is flow closely, close inside blood vessels. Right, so basically human and animals, most animals you see are closed circulatory system. Insects will have open circulatory system. Okay, so for closed, like human, heart pumps the blood into artery, then go to blood capillaries, they use the vein to go back. But for insects, right, when heart pump, blood will flow openly inside their body. Okay, let's first look at open circulatory system. So for open circulatory system, okay, you just need to know like the pathway only. Now, number one, right, insects, they do not have blood. Okay, so that's why when you step on a cockroach, right, whatever that's splattered out, right, is actually colorless, yellow, white color that is not red color. It's because they don't have this red blood cell. It means they don't have hemoglobin because their blood, right, is actually called hemolymph. Now, why blood don't have red blood cells? It's because their blood do not transport oxygen. Just like we learned in chapter 8, right? Insects, right, their respiratory system is called the what? Tracheal system, which, right, they don't use blood to transport oxygen. Oxygen directly transport from the outside into their cell. So since their blood don't carry oxygen, so their blood don't have red blood cell, that's why it's not red color. Okay, yeah. So just remember their blood no red blood cell. So when their heart pump, right, they pump something called hemolymph into the hemocoel. Hemocoel is the body cavity that we mentioned just now. So you can see when the heart pump that time, the blood will flow out openly into their body like that. Alright, then you might ask, if their blood don't carry oxygen, then their blood carry what? Their blood carry nutrients and waste. Just like we learn human blood also got nutrients one so they mainly carry nutrients to their body cells. Their body cells are inside this empty space called the hemocoel. So in hemocoel, exchange of nutrients and waste occurs between the hemolymph and the body cell. So for human, right, it's gas exchange with blood and body cell. But since they don't have oxygen in their blood, so you must say exchange of nutrients. Once exchange is done already, right, the blood needs to go back to the heart. So how blood go back to heart? Okay, they return to the heart via the ostia. So ostia is like a pathway like that, like a valve like that, to allow the blood to go back to the heart. Okay, so you can add one more word here, right? Is when the heart relax. So contract that time, it pumps out the blood. When relax that time, it return to the heart through the ostia. So you can just add one more here, when heart relaxes. Okay, so the pathway, very easy. You usually know from heart, blood go into the space called hemocoel. Hemocoel got cells to carry gases exchange. Then you use the ostia to go back to the heart. That's it for open circulatory system. The most they will ask you is to explain how open circulatory system works, how the blood is being pumped, like that, 3 to 4 points only. Okay. Now the more important one is actually the closed circulatory system, which they will ask you to compare between 3 different animals. So you have double close complete, double close incomplete, and single close. So for double, okay, every word, right, actually got meaning, right? Like you learned in science last time. Double means 2. Means blood will pass through the heart how many times? Once or twice. Single means once, double means twice. Means blood will first enter the heart 1 time, go to lungs, get oxygen, then go to body the 2nd time, then come back. So 2 times. So this one also the same, double. And then single means 1 time only. So fish, for example, have single close, means when the heart pump blood to the gills to get oxygen, they don't go back to the heart, they straight away go to the body. Okay, this one I'll explain later. So close, you already know the meaning. Got blood vessel. Close means blood inside blood vessel. Now, complete, incomplete means whether the deoxygenated blood mix or not. Complete means no mix. Incomplete means got mix. Okay, let's compare these two first. So double close complete, right? This is human one. Okay, so mammals, birds usually have this. Double close incomplete are your amphibians, like your frogs. Example, question usually gives frogs one. Okay, first, similarities, right? Okay, now I want you to first look at the word. word itself, right, got similarities and differences already. This one usually asks us to compare. Now, all three animals, right, all got close. Means you can say that all blood flows in blood vessel, or you can say both have closed circulatory system. Now, these two is the same meaning. So in exam that time, you write either one. You write both blood flows in blood vessels, or both have closed, easier. Okay. Now, another one that you can write that is not in the name is, right, all of us have heart that pumps blood. But you can see, right, for human and frogs, right, we actually got one more similarity, which is double with this word. So double, you can just write that. Both have double circulation, and literally you can just write this word. Okay, if you write this already, do not write this already because it's the same meaning. So of course you write the shorter one. So double means the blood flows through the heart twice. Now then the main difference is of course the name, complete, incomplete. So human, you can just say has complete circulation. Frogs or amphibians has incomplete circulation. So the meaning I also explained, complete means no mixing of two blood, while frogs got mixed. So why our blood oxy-deoxy doesn't mix, right? Because our heart in between, right, there's this thing called the septum, especially the ventricle there, to separate these two blood. But for frogs, right, their ventricle don't have the septum. So say the blood here purple color means the oxy-deoxy mix here already. So that is the main difference. Now, name only gives us like two similarities, one difference. So let's say the question asks more. Okay, then look at the heart. Name done already, go to heart. So which we just mentioned. One got septum, one don't have. And because of the septum, right, we have 4 heart chambers, 2 ventricles, 2 atrium. They only got 3. 2 atrium, 1 ventricle. So next, look at the heart. So we have 4 heart chambers in total. Just mention the total number. Can already? Frogs have 3. We have septum, they do not have. So this is basically the heart. Okay, heart septum already. Still got 2 more difference you can say. Blood pressure. Human, our blood pressure definitely is higher because we got 2 ventricles. Each ventricles can pump on its own, but this one only got 1. Means 1 ventricle got to do 2 ventricle punya work. So the force is usually lesser. So their pressure lower. And then finally, deoxygenated blood. Flow of deoxygenated blood from heart. So for human, deoxy blood from heart goes to lungs. For frogs, it goes to lungs and skin. Okay, here let me elaborate more. So if you notice the diagram here, I got right. Okay, for human, just like last time you all learned in science, you have pulmonary and systemic circulation. So pulmonary always means lungs. So pulmonary circulation means between lung and heart punya circulation. So means from heart to lungs, lungs back to heart. This is called pulmonary circulation. So if the question asks you to explain pulmonary and also systemic circulation, okay, 2 marks each. So for pulmonary, you just have to say deoxy blood flows from heart to lungs. And then once your gases exchange at the alveolus to get oxygen already, the oxy blood return back from lungs to heart. For systemic, not systematic, systemic is between the heart and your entire body. So from heart, oxygenated blood pump to your body tissues, and then from body tissues, the deoxy blood returns back to the heart. It's just like that. But for amphibians, right, this part is called pulmocutaneous instead of just pulmonary. The below here systemic is the same. Because when heart pumps the deoxy blood, right, it will go to not just the lungs, but also the skin. So cutaneous means skin. Now, let's go to the last animal, fish, single, close. Now, if you notice, there's no complete, incomplete. In a moment, I'll tell you why. So when heart pump blood that time, it will pump to the gills to get oxygen, just like for us and frogs, we go to the lungs to get oxygen. So they use gills to breathe, so go to gills. But once they get oxygen already, the blood become oxygenated, they won't return back to the heart. They continue flow to the body. Body get oxygen already, then it goes back to the heart. That's why it's single. It goes through the heart once. Okay? Now, why don't have complete, incomplete? Because if you look at their heart only got blue color deoxygenated blood. Means since there's only 1 blood, there's no way of mixing and separating the blood. That's why complete, incomplete doesn't apply in fish. So when question asks you to compare, let's say fish and human, there's 1 less thing to compare. The complete, incomplete here, you compare no marks, so that's why here's dash, nothing. So let's say if I'm comparing human and fish, the main difference from the name you can get is just double, single only. So human double, fish single, blood flow through the heart once. No mixing, cannot say already lah. And then like I say, go to the heart. So their heart only got 2 chambers, 1 atrium, 1 ventricle. their heart also obviously no septum. If you put septum here, then you block the blood flow in the heart already. And then blood pressure definitely is low because your heart only pump once, and then deoxy blood from heart goes to gills, not lungs anymore. Okay, now the slightly more K-but question they like to ask here is, out of these three systems, who is the most efficient one? Obviously, it's human. Okay, here I already wrote single close, which is fish one, and double close, incomplete, the amphibians frog one. They have disadvantages compared to human. Okay, let's talk about the frogs one first. Now, frogs one, the main disadvantage, of course, is the mixing of oxy and deoxygen in the blood in the ventricles of heart. So, because of that, their blood will have lower oxygen. So their body will definitely receive lesser oxygen. Because here you see your mix already, right? Some of the oxy blood will go back to the lungs. So here got mixed oxy and deoxy. But human, we have 100% oxygen. Now for fish, because of the blood only pass through the heart once, you need to pump one time to an entire body. So their main problem is low pressure. Blood flows sluggishly under low pressure. So if their blood has lower pressure, their body get oxygen at a slower rate. So therefore, transport oxygen is less efficient compared to humans. So this topic is actually that simple, same like science one. So that's it lah. Okay, bye bye.